Hey motorcycle enthusiasts, in this video I'm going to show you guys just how you can reset your TPS on your CRF 450L. So I want to talk to you guys about resetting the TPS, but I also want to talk to you about the importance of tuning your ECU. And if you guys have bought one of these, you got 4 dials on the ECU, you're questioning what the heck do I do? You ask people. This is kind of like it's an art. Someone who has the information to actually connect to your computer and make adjustments can help you, but if you don't know anything about the dials on the TPS, or I'm sorry, the dials on the Vortex, then it'll be difficult to do your own tuning without getting a professional to connect it to your bike, his computer and program. So the things I've learned: you have stock parameters, which are already lean. Your bike should get over 40 miles to the gallon. Then you make your modifications, whether it's an exhaust, camshaft, you open your airbox up, you take the coolant outlet kit and put it on your bike from Champion Adventures. All those things can change the way the bike basically runs, and mostly for the leaner side. So when you put the Vortex on, you have the opportunity to make your bike rich, and it's still not rich enough to do things like go wide open down the highway for long periods of time, or in my case, hold it wide open in Mexico for long periods of time. I know because I've had issues, a couple issues with our motors now that I've never had with the Gen 1 bikes. So these Gen 2 bikes are a little bit tougher to set up, but once you get them done, you have really good fuel mileage and the bike works really well, and you're a happy camper. So starting off with the X10 adjuster, that is actually an adjuster to set different maps. Now you don't have an option for Pro Circuit because Vortex didn't do their testing. I usually lean towards either, I don't know. I don't really have a lean to right now, but if you look at map 4 on your Vortex, it's 2.5% richer for the Yosh, and right there you're starting off way better. So 2.5 richer across the board over all the other maps is a better starting point. Now less fuel mileage, but a healthier running engine. Maybe a little more sluggish feeling sometimes, but again, a healthier running engine that'll last longer. So make sure you find the map that you like on that X10 dial. And in the box, the Vortex box, you can read all about which map you want to use, and best trail map, best power map on dyno, best power fuel on the, like when riding, all those things. That's the 1 through 10 adjuster on the X10 adjuster. Now, once you get that dialed, you can actually dial in your low, mid, and high, and obviously low range, mid range, high range, and all of them come at a spec setting 555. So whichever trail you figure out, then or whichever map you figure out, I'm sorry, on X10, then you can dial in your low, mid, high. And for someone who just does a coolant outlet kit and an exhaust and maybe takes the top cover off of their airbox, it's I recommend low 5, mid 6, and high 7. Now every one of those dials is actually 2.5% increase if you go obviously up, and decrease with the number lower. I wouldn't really suggest going lower unless you work with a Vortex guy that's going to map your bike kind of on the richer side, and then you want to go slightly leaner just for a little bit more response, maybe off the bottom or mid-range, to try to get over some of those like bunny hops, some like rain ruts or something like that. So again, 2.5% richer. So I went stock parameters on the low, which is the 5, and then 6 would obviously be 2.5% richer, and then on 7 would be 5% richer on top end. Now that's like the equivalent, if you have an old 450X or any other old bike, that's the equivalent of maybe doing like a 170 main jet to a 175. And I know from experience racing in Mexico, if you hold the bike wide open with a 175 on a Gen 1 bike, you can basically blow up the bike. You can melt the motor. If you hold it wide open with a 178 down in Mexico, the thing will last all day long. So just that small percentage can create an issue when the throttle's wide open and the fuel pump and the injector's just dumping fuel into the cylinder head. So make sure you have your bike properly, new bikes aspirated. Make sure you have enough fuel going into that cylinder head so your cylinders last a long time, your piston lasts a long time. We've recently gotten quite a bit of mileage, race mileage out of our 450X race bike. We raced, it's got around like 65 hours of race wide open hours where professionals are riding on the bike. That's 10 hours of Glen Helen, Vegas to Reno, second place overall. The Baja 500, second place. No, we got third. And then the 24 hours of Glen Helen, which was also second. So we're not slacking. We're not winning, but we're not slacking. And so we got a lot of pressure on the engines. And what we found is to make sure that you want to get your ECU tuned properly. And hopefully this little tutorial will help you dial in your Vortex ECU in the garage. Now, if you're never happy with it, you might have to work with a map guy, and what he'll do is he can work with the ignition timing, which is that X10 dial. He can do custom stuff there, where if you're having like issues where the thing's lean popping and dying, or like when you're trail riding, the thing coughs and dies and then you fall over and bend a radiator. It's a common problem. So if you ever want to work with a map guy, I suggest getting that done. They're gonna adjust a lot of different things that I don't have the ability to do, and most people that aren't going to invest a bunch of money into the equipment to work and basically adjust the Vortex. So hopefully this helps you guys. And now we'll break into resetting the TPS on the 450L and the procedure to do that. And just a brief walkthrough, and then what we're doing is we're grounding out the ECU, and that's the only way to do it, where you can basically rotate the motor over with the throttle completely closed and then the throttle wide open. So we ground out the ECU through the 30-second pin on the ECU, and we connect it to the ground, and that grounds the ECU, and you're able to turn the motor over with the key switch on, and the fuel pump doesn't engage, but it still teaches the ECU how to like where the throttle is shut and wide open. So let's get started. So this 450L is a little bit significant, but not different than most of yours. The on-off switch is just the key. So what I've done is I've looped the circuit for the on-off switch. So everyone who's got a stock bike, make sure that they leave their on-off switch on the on position. Mine just has a electric start button to save bar space because I don't like running wraparound handguards. So to back up, here we go. You're going to remove the seat and you're going to remove the shrouds. Once you got the seat and the shrouds removed, you'll have the ECU exposed and you'll have your ground connections exposed. So the ECU is exposed and you'll have this little red plug. It's actually the 32 port, labeled 32 if you look in your service manual. You're gonna pull that little plug out with either like a little electronic pick or a razor blade, and it'll give you access to basically put a wire in there. So here's the green ground wire I'm going to use. It's about 16 inches in length, and it's probably a 20 gauge wire. I'm gonna strip both ends and twist both sides. I've stripped away the sheathing on the green ground wire. I'm gonna put one underneath and clamp it behind that the two ground cables that connect to the frame, and the other side's going to go directly into that port when you remove that red plug. So I've started the removal process of the red pin. I use this electrical tool plug. You can use like a sharp razor blade. I got it out just far enough for the video. Pull that thing out and feed your stripped wire inside the port. It's going to go in pretty far. It's going to basically make contact with the leads on the ECU. Grounding out the ECU. So when you turn the key switch on, hopefully the fuel pump doesn't turn on. So the key switch is on, you can see the light going out. Key switch on. Now, you're supposed to hold the start button. Now I have my start button wired. But you hold the start button for 2 seconds, let the motor turn over 2 to 3 seconds, and then you hold the throttle wide open 2 to 3 seconds. So, okay. Now it's wide open, and the same thing. And the TPS is supposed to be reset after that. Slide the pin back into the ECU connector. Get rid of your wire and retorque your ground connection. Put the shroud back on and the seat, and you'll be dialed. Resetting the TPS is critical for your bike if you're having a bottom end run issue or something like that. It's important because if it's 2 or 3%, even 4% off on the bottom, it'll be exactly the same amount on the top, which could create a lean issue when you're trying to go fast and dump a lot of fuel into the intake. So if you guys like this video, let me know down in the comments if you want to see some more, and I'll try to be an all-around dirt bike guy for you guys, both riding and how-to videos. Thanks for watching.